Practical Classics Restoration Show is just a few days away now, and I have the Fordson pickup truck behind me booked in to display for the entire weekend, which means we've got to drive it down there on Thursday. Obviously, previously we left off, we were fitting the electronic distributor conversion on it, and we were also doing a dynomater to replace the old dynamo. Those are bits and pieces that I definitely needed doing, but we took it out on a test run after doing that, and it did not go very well. So we now have the entire front end of the truck off, because basically it made it about 1.5 miles, maybe 2 miles at best down the road before it overheated. So obviously in the two and a half years that it's been laid up, we've got some problems with our cooling system now. Bad quality antifreeze, it seems, has played a big part in creating chunks of rust inside the block, which then clogged the radiator. So we've had to send the radiator away. They ended up not opening it up. I did want it rodded out really, but they didn't want to take the chance. It's a 77-year-old radiator, I think, original, so they didn't want to open it up just in case it did not go back together, which is understandable. So they ended up running some very strong acid through it, and that seems to, according to their flow tests, cleared the rad. So hopefully we should be okay on that front. But obviously we've got some other bits and pieces that we can tackle now that we've gone this far. The original water pump from the engine is pretty corroded on the impeller. Not too bad. We've actually been treating the rest of the block with some Arapa rust, and that has actually cleaned that up quite a lot. That looked pretty mank before. But we've got some decent corrosion there, and you know, water's not going to flow as well through that as it would a water pump with nice new veins that aren't pitted. So we've gone ahead and bought a new old stock Quinton Hazel water pump, which is definitely older than I am, and definitely new old stock. So that, hopefully, that goes in there, that resolves some issues. We've also going to run a thermostat on the truck, which we haven't done previously. For the last probably 60 years it hasn't had a thermostat in it, and it used to have the rubber top hose, so we're going to have to convert that now to this cast iron one for the 100E engine, which will take a thermostat in the bottom of it. So we've got a new old stock bellow type thermostat. It's like one I've never really seen before, but I've tested it, it works. So that should be okay. And like I say, we've had the Arapa rust in the block, which has really cleared out some of the corrosion and bits and pieces. But I think the next step, we're going to have to take the head off. Like I say, we've got some pretty big chunks of corrosion in there, and if we leave those, it's just going to go straight up the top hose, back into the rad, and we'll probably be back at square one. So yeah, that's what we're going to do now. We're going to take the head off. So we'll take the distributor out, might take the dynamo off, not sure yet. I think I might be able to clear that. We'll see. Pray that all the head bolts come out without stripping or breaking. If we break one, then it's game over. We've only got 5 days until the NEC. So yeah, this really is the last hope we have. So let's go for it. Well, we've got our cylinder head off, and it actually came off without too much of a fight. The only bolt that really gave us any problems was this one just here, and the coil was a little bit tight. We had to be just a little bit ginger with that one, but yeah, it came out okay. So we've got all of our cylinder head bolts down here, all in order of what they came out of. That's the front of the engine, working our way back so they all go back in the same place. Probably not super critical, but always nice to have the bolt that's been in that home back in there. So you can see some of the reasons there why we're pulling this head off. You can see some of those big old chunks in there, blocking some of those coolant passages. Looks like there's another one back there that's blocked as well. And then if we go back to the cylinder head, we'll find corresponding garbage all caught up in those water galleries there. And I dare say that's probably a lot better than it was when it was last going down the road, now that it's had several flushes of the coolant system as well. And also with our cylinder head off, we can obviously get a good look inside the engine. So it was 2017, 2018 when I rebuilt this engine, and I don't think it's doing too badly for what was realistically an unknown engine to me. I had never run it before. doesn't look too bad. Still got some cross hatching showing on the bores there. Got a little bit of a vertical scoring going on there, but that was probably in it before. I didn't bore it out at all. We just gave it a good hone and put some new rings in it, new bearings. So yeah, not seeing any real evidence of any compression leaking across the cylinder head gasket. That was one theory somebody had. Maybe the gasket had gone through and I was actually somewhat pressurizing the system, although you can't on this because it's open vented anyway. But perhaps we were getting some exhaust gases going into the coolant and that was what was heating it up. But I'm not necessarily seeing any real evidence of that on this head gasket. Of course, the other side of the head gasket could paint a very different story, so let's take that off now and see what it looks like. Yeah, the other side of the gasket paints a similar picture. You can obviously see where the wrapper rust has been. So perhaps a little bit of leakage. I did note that the centre head bolts were not fantastically tight, even though they were all torqued down 6 odd years ago. You can see more evidence there of blocked coolant passages. That one's completely blocked. Should be nice and open like that one. So yeah, I mean, we probably could reuse this head gasket, but I have got another one. So we'll chuck a nice new fresh one on there that's not been crushed down already. Give it the best chance of sealing up. So yeah, I think I'll just rotate this engine over a couple of times and just have a quick look at the valve train, make sure everything's opening and closing like it should, and that we've hopefully not got to go any further into this engine. I really hope not. Yeah, so the whole engine turns over quite nicely. Not looking too bad really. I think it probably has about 700 miles on it now. Got a little bit of carbon deposits on the exhaust valves, but you know, we are talking 6 odd years ago. Yeah, not too bad. I'm pretty happy with the way it looks in there. So we just need to flush the head out now, flush the block out, and then we can hopefully start on some reassembly. Just giving the cylinder head a quick flush out, just so the garden knows. Set up this little magnetic tray underneath it just to see what would come out as curiosity. And oh my god. And this is just the metallic-y stuff. I mean, some of it obviously isn't got much metal to it, so these great big chunks come out, and all this little stuff as well. Definitely enough to start clogging up a cooling system over time, that's for sure. Let's look at all the shit coming out of there. Getting loads of sediment, loads of pieces. This is good. This is what we needed. Well, we finally have the water coming back out of the block nice and clear. So I think we've got the vast majority of it flushed out now. As you can see, we've made a bit of a mess of our nice clean truck that we had before this started. And we blowing compressed air down these water galleries and shooting absolute volcanic eruptions of shite out of the block. But I think now, touch wood, we've got it looking pretty clear. I'm just going to blow off the top of the cylinder head now, get the water off of it and give it a good clean up. And then our last thing that we've got to try and do is just see if we can get, there's a little bun back in here, and I've been told that that's the water gallery between the two parts of the block. I think it's clear, to be honest with you, because I got water flowing nicely through the pump out of the water outlet here, so I think it's fine. But I guess whilst we're here, we should probably try and deal with that and just make sure. That does, though, mean taking the front engine mount off, so it's going to be a little bit of fun. We're going to have to try and just jack up the engine and support it, and take this bar off the front to get to that little plug and see if it even comes out. It might not even come out, but we'll give it a go. So down there is just some of the rubbish that we've been getting out of the block. That's the heavier stuff. Some of the stuff has just floated straight out as we've been pouring the water away. But yeah, that's what's been blocking up our radiator as we've been going down the road. Well, we've got the block pretty much cleaned up as much as we're going to be able to, I think. So it's time to start installing some of our new bits and pieces. So this is the new water pump. As you can see, the vanes on the impeller there, much nicer. Trying to debate whether at some point somebody's given it a coat of gloss black to protect it in the box. But it all seems to be what it says it is. It's got the Quinton Hazel stamp there. And that's definitely a Quinton Hazel box with all the right part numbers on it. But it's got to be better than what we've got on there now. So let's get that put on, and that's one bit down. Well, we got the engine starting to go back together now. Got the cylinder head back on with a fresh head gasket, cleaned up all the mating surfaces of the block. We've got the new water pump on. That did fight us a little bit. New old stock obviously isn't any better than just buying stuff that's made in China nowadays, it seems. The holes were slightly misaligned, so I had to enlarge them slightly, and then the gasket didn't fit either the block or the pump, so had to make my own gasket for that as well. But we've overcome those bits. So obviously now with the head on, we've just been going through the torque sequence there, and we've torqued them to 65 foot-pounds, which is what the manual calls for, between 65 and 70. I'm not going to go to 70, I'm going to leave it at 65, I'm not going to tempt fate. So yeah, we're ready now to start putting on a few other bits and pieces. We'll drop the distributor back in, put the plugs back in so we don't drop anything down the engine now. Then we can put the air filter back on for the same reason, and then that just leaves us with everything up front. I did, as I was at the parts place, just picking up a new tube of gasket sealant. Spied this 90 lower radiator hose on the shelf, which actually isn't too bad a fit on the lower outlet there, and will just about squeeze onto the radiator. The radiator's got a slightly larger output than the engine block does, so if you get one that fits the radiator nicely, it's just far too loose on the block there. We've managed to get it to seal up previously with this flexi hose. As you can see, it had to be squashed quite a lot with that clamp to get it to seal compared to the bit that goes on the radiator. So I'm really hoping that that will fit and I don't have to put the flexi hose back on. For up top, there's nothing that you can buy on the shelf, so that will be a new bit of flexi hose hopefully that goes on there. So yeah, we're getting close now. Let's start bolting on some other bits and pieces. She's running. Has been for probably about 25 minutes, half an hour now, just ticking over. Everything seems to be fine and dandy on the coolant side of things. But all of that is coming out of the crankcase breather. I know she used to breathe a little bit, but I don't remember it being that bad. According to the heat gun I got, cylinder number 3 not doing very much at all. So maybe that's where our blow-by is coming from. And it's bad. It goes away when it's revving up, but yeah. She's a tired old engine really. But it doesn't seem to be smoking much out the tailpipe. We can live with a bit of blow-by. But so far, everything seems to be doing what it should. I mean, she just will not get any hotter than that sitting here. This is a vast improvement because that was obviously a little over 100 degrees a few days ago. Still obviously got a massive clear up to do, but that's where the gauge is sitting. Obviously this is just at idle, but I would like to think if it would sit in traffic like this, then hopefully it'll go down the road okay. I need to try and find another length of flexi hose. Not too happy with this bit, so we've had to put like a hose clamp in the middle here because that's really crushing down quite a bit. It's not a pressurised system, so it shouldn't collapse or anything, and obviously it's circling that way round, so it shouldn't be a problem. So if I can get another bit of hose, then I think we should. So yeah, the biggest to do at the moment is, are we leaking coolant into the combustion chamber, or is that really just blow by? I don't think it's looking very promising. Oh, we're running again. This is now the third oil change. Just running some used stuff from the Fordson that I drained out last November. Just flushing the crap through. So far everything's looking okay. Significantly less blow by, and I think I've now officially had it idling for longer than I would probably be driving it down the road for in one go, and it will not get hot. It actually runs very cool just sitting here, so I think if it can sit just idling around, what classic car likes to do that? So hopefully it should go down the road okay. And last sort of things that I do want to try and do, I want to try and get another hose if I can. I don't like that setup at all. I had a really nice flexi hose that I'd been keeping for a while, but for some reason this bloody exhaustion I should think of working on it for the last few days, I cut the bugger too short. So I'm hoping that the person that I got that stuff from a little while ago will still have some in stock, or at least some that he can get relatively quickly. So at the moment we've still just got straight water in here, we've not got any antifreeze, so we will be draining her back down tonight. But the main thing at the moment is just to leave her running for a little while longer again and just see if we get milkshake. We'll have to let it cool right down this next time I think, and go through the head bolts again and just see if they'll take another little nip up. But yeah, at the moment not seeing anything engine wise suggesting that it's burning coolant. I think the likely scenario is that whilst flushing the block, I mean, as you can see, we've had water everywhere, and I think a decent amount probably went down the distributor drive, which is just an open hole to the crankcase, so it probably doesn't take very much water to mix in with oil to make it go mank. But so far, so good. I think we're okay, hopefully. I mean, before, you remember we were getting the steam coming up through the wheel arch from the crankcase breather, which is down there. And whilst he's breathing a little bit, that's normal for this old thing. There's a reason why they put those underneath the old cars. But the old Fordson made it to the NEC. Absolutely no problems at all. Ran perfectly fine, we were doing 35-40 miles an hour all the way here on a 90-mile trip, and no big dramas at all. If it wasn't for my legs, I don't think we would have had to have stopped at all. It's not the most comfortable thing in the world to drive, but other than that, no problems. Very happy. We should be in the show in a minute, just waiting for it to walk back over from wherever he's had to park this time. They let us park in this same car park last year, but obviously not for this one. So, yeah, next time you'll see it on the stand. Well, there we go, that's a wrap on the Practical Classics restoration show at the NEC, where we took the Fordson E83W behind me on a 180-mile round trip after having loads and loads of problems with it in the run up to the show. But actually, once we'd sorted out those problems, it ran and drove fine. I didn't have any problems at all. So really happy with how the truck did. It was a brilliant show, brilliant club, excellent people. So yeah, if you're thinking about being on a stand at the NEC, then get in touch with your car clubs. Book it, it's good fun, it really is. So yeah, that'll do for now, until we have the Fordson out again for another show. Probably a little bit more local.